Hello everyone. Welcome back to Crime Revelation. Today, we're going to talk about the Jodi Arias case, one of the most infamous criminal cases in recent history. We'll cover the details of the murder of Travis Alexander, the trial, and the twists and turns that kept everyone on edge. And don't forget to share, like, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crime stories. With that said, let's dive right in. Jodi Arias was born on July 9, 1980, in Salinas, California, and attended Wairika Union High School. She grew up in a family with both parents, 4 siblings, and grandparents who lived nearby. In her 20s, she held a series of dead-end jobs and experienced a pattern of relationships with unfaithful boyfriends. In September 2006, Arias was in a relationship with Daryl Brewer, which had begun in 2002. While they shared some happy moments, they were ultimately not aligned in their goals. Daryl, a divorced man, had made it clear from the start that he didn't want to remarry. His primary focus was staying close to his ex-wife to co-parent their son, not on building a future with his girlfriend. Over 20 years older than Jodi, Daryl had first met her when he was her manager at a California restaurant. Together, they had purchased a house, and Jodi worked 2 waitress jobs to cover her half of the mortgage. Despite her efforts, she struggled to keep up with the payments and feared failing at yet another aspect of her life. Having dropped out of high school, she had not fulfilled her dream of becoming a professional photographer and found herself unable to keep up financially. A friend suggested that Jodi try Prepaid Legal, now known as Legal Shield, a company that offered legal insurance. With her youthful charisma, Jodi seemed capable of selling anything. She hoped that this opportunity would allow her to capitalize on her talents and finally pave the way for the life she envisioned. Although Jodi started working for Prepaid Legal in February 2006, she stopped paying her share of the house bills by August 2006. In September 2006, while still in a relationship with Daryl, Jodi attended a prepaid legal conference at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. The event was professional, but the atmosphere was festive, with lively people enjoying themselves. During a break, Jodi stepped outside the main entrance of the Rainforest Cafe. In the distance, she saw her supervisor, Dr. David Hughes, call out to another man and suggest that he meet someone. She noticed her boss pointing at her. Travis Alexander walked up to Jodi, extended his hand, and introduced himself. And just like that, under the bright lights of Las Vegas in September 2006, a chance encounter marked the beginning of a complex love story. Jodi Arias, a 26-year-old woman, crossed paths with Travis Alexander, a 29-year-old motivational speaker, salesman, and devout Mormon. From the moment they began to talk, friends noted an undeniable chemistry between them. Travis was so taken with Jodi that he invited her to the convention's formal executive dinner as his +1. During the dinner, laughter and conversation flowed easily, and by the end of the night, they were still chatting until the early hours of the morning. The next day, Travis excitedly told a friend that he had met the woman he wanted to marry. Despite living hundreds of miles apart, Travis in Mesa, Arizona, and Jodi in Palm Desert, California, the two embarked on a long-distance relationship that thrived for a few months. They arranged to meet at the home of Sky Lavingier Hughes and her then-husband, Chris Hughes. They traveled to popular sites in the Southwest. Jodi captured those moments, posting photos on social media. However, their budding romance was not without its challenges. Although Travis was deeply committed to his faith, Jodi was not a Mormon. Beneath the surface, they were engaging in premarital intimacy, a violation of a core principle of the Mormon faith. Friends noted that this situation created an internal conflict for Travis, who felt guilty for going against his religious beliefs. Travis's friend Dave Hall observed that while Travis had always been a staunch member of the Mormon Church, his relationship with Jodi brought about discussions regarding morality and the complications it introduced into his life. Meanwhile, Travis maintained a personal blog titled, Travis Alexander's Being Better blog, where he candidly reflected on his difficult upbringing in Southern California, raised by parents struggling with addiction to illegal substances. He recalled poignant memories, writing about the days when food was scarce, and his family had to make do with whatever was left. Eventually, their grandmother stepped in to care for them, providing stability and guiding them towards a life rooted in faith. As their relationship progressed, Travis was eager to share his beliefs with Jodi. He sent missionaries to her home to introduce her to the tenets of his faith and discuss the Book of Mormon with her. Within a few months of their meeting, Jodi embraced his faith and converted to Mormonism, with Travis himself having the honor of baptizing her. Their love story was a blend of passion, faith, and the struggles of navigating vastly different backgrounds. From the beginning, Travis's friends noticed unsettling signs in Jodi's behavior, particularly her intense obsession with him. Sky recalled a specific evening when they were all enjoying a hot tub together. While the friends were trying to have a relaxed conversation, Jodi unexpectedly climbed onto Travis's lap, acting as if they were young teenagers with their parents out of town. While Travis attempted to push her off, confused and irked, his friends exchanged glances, questioning whether Jodi didn't realize that they were all sitting there. As they continued to observe Jodi, it became clear to them that she was becoming increasingly possessive of Travis. Clancy Talbot, another friend, noted how she insisted on sitting right next to him and showed open disdain whenever he spoke to another woman, as if it were essential for everyone to know they were a couple. His friends described an instance where Jodi would follow Travis to the bathroom, standing right outside the door, or listening in on his conversations. She also invaded his privacy by going through his phone, emails, and social media accounts, even forwarding messages between him and other women directly to herself. Concerned for their friend's safety, his friends Sky and Chris decided to confront Travis about their unsettling observations. Jodi and Travis would often meet each other and stay at Sky and Chris's house in California. When they were sure she was asleep that night, they took Travis to another room to sit him down for a serious discussion. They expressed their fears about Jodi and her behavior. Surprisingly, Travis brushed aside their concerns, insisting that Jodi was kind-hearted and someone he truly cared for. During this intense conversation, Sky suddenly sensed a chilling presence and pointed out that Jodi was lurking just outside the door. Though Travis was skeptical, when he opened the door, he found Jodi standing there, and Sky described a look of pure malice etched on her face. They could see a terrifying rage in her eyes, and at that moment, both Sky and Chris felt a surge of fear, worried that Jodi might lash out and endanger everyone in the house. After spending 5 months in a relationship, Alexander decided to end things with Arias. Just weeks later, however, Arias made the surprising move to Mesa, where Alexander was living, much to the confusion of his friends. Arias quickly made herself at home in Alexander's life. She would often show up at his house uninvited, confidently entering through the garage door since she had learned the code. Alexander had told his friends about a particularly alarming incident in which Arias managed to sneak into his home through a doggy door. In discussing their tumultuous relationship, Alexander's friend Hogan noted that there were times when Alexander would be visibly upset with Arias, while at other moments he would jump into bed with her, blurring the lines of their complicated connection. Chris Hughes, another close friend of Alexander, recounted witnessing Arias act strangely during their time together. After their split, Alexander began a new relationship with a woman named Lisa, which only seemed to escalate Arias's alarming behavior. According to Hughes, Arias would frighten Lisa by knocking on her doors and windows before darting away, a tactic that caused considerable distress. Additionally, Alexander's friends reported that his tires were slashed on 2 separate occasions, and they suspected that Arias was responsible for the vandalism. When Alexander confronted her about his suspicions, she vehemently denied any involvement. By April 2008, after approximately 8 months of residing in Mesa, Arias returned to her family in Yreka, California. Sky Lavingier Hughes, the friend of Alexander, recalled the relief they both felt with Arias gone. She stated that she was excited and so was Travis. He said, "I'm getting my life back. This is a whole new start, she's gone." However, unbeknownst to his friends, despite Arias's physical absence, she and Alexander continued to communicate through phone calls and text messages, even engaging in intimacy over the phone. They even exchanged a total of 82,000 emails. Stephen, Alexander's brother, referred to Arias as kryptonite, suggesting she had an irresistible yet toxic pull on his brother. Then, in May 2008, though the reasons remained unclear to those around them, G-chat and text messages uncovered that Alexander and Arias were embroiled in a significant argument. At one point in their exchange, Alexander expressed, "You don't know what horror you have caused me." To this, Arias replied, "It wasn't really my intention to harm you." Alexander's frustration escalated, leading him to label her a sociopath and called her the lowest of the low. As early June 2008 approached, Alexander had plans to attend a company retreat in Cancun, Mexico. He first invited Jodi to go with him but later changed his mind and decided to go with another woman he was interested in, a fellow Mormon named Mimi. However, it would soon become apparent that he had vanished just before this trip was to take place. The Hughes family had just arrived in Cancun and were excitedly planning activities while waiting for Alexander and Mimi to join them. Chris Hughes shared his feelings of unease, saying that he kept reaching out, calling and texting Travis asking, "Do you want to do this? How about that?" But he wasn't getting any replies. This lack of response started to raise concerns, especially when Alexander missed an important call he was supposed to lead, amplifying their worries. In a lighthearted yet anxious tone, Chris left a voicemail for Alexander inquiring if everything was okay and to please call him back. He also mentioned to Sky that something felt off. As the days passed, their concern grew stronger. By June 9, 2008, they hadn't heard from their friend for 5 days. Mimi, who was still at home, decided to team up with a couple of others to visit Travis Alexander's house. Fortunately, a friend provided them with the garage code to get in. Once inside, they met one of Travis's roommates, Zach Billings. Feeling uneasy, they asked, "Hey, have you seen or heard from Travis?" Billings shrugged and replied, "No, he's in Mexico." Mimi quickly corrected him, stating, "He's not in Mexico. I'm supposed to go with him tomorrow." With growing concern, Billings opened the door to Travis's room. A sense of dread filled the air as he walked down the hallway toward the bathroom, where he discovered a harrowing scene. Travis's lifeless body in the shower. The friends rushed to call 911, panic surging within them. When Detective Esteban Flores arrived at the scene, the situation became more severe. He later shared that there was blood everywhere. Stephen Alexander, Travis's brother, described the complicated dynamics in Travis's relationships, hinting at the challenges he faced. From his experience, Flores quickly concluded, "My first thought was that there had been a significant struggle. This was personal. Someone wanted him harmed. It was evident this wasn't random. Someone familiar with him aimed to ensure he was gone." Further investigations revealed some shocking details. Travis had tragically lost his life 5 days earlier, with over 27 stab wounds, along with a cut to his throat and a gunshot wound to the head. Authorities discovered a bloody palm print outside his bedroom, along with long brown hairs found in the bathroom. The same bathroom Travis exclusively used. Additionally, a camera was found in a puzzling location, inside the washing machine. Just hours after the body of Alexander was discovered, Arias reached out to the police to inquire about the ongoing investigation. Detective Flores, who was in charge of the case, noted that Arias mentioned she had talked to Alexander briefly on the very day he was found. At that time, she was traveling to Utah to visit a new boyfriend. During the course of the investigation, Arias's name had come up repeatedly among Alexander's friends, who described her as an ex-girlfriend who seemed unable to move on. Arias insisted that she had not been in Arizona when Alexander was found. However, when she traveled to Arizona for his memorial service, she cooperated with the police by agreeing to provide her fingerprints. As the investigation continued, computer forensic experts made a significant discovery. They examined a memory card found in Alexander's washing machine and uncovered photographs that featured both him and Arias, dated from the day of the incident. This evidence increased the scrutiny on Arias. Furthermore, investigators discovered a bloodstain linked to a palm print belonging to both Alexander and Arias. Following this finding, Flores and other authorities traveled to Yreka, California, where they arrested her. During her questioning, Arias attempted to explain her delayed arrival in Utah, which was a full day behind schedule. While she was expected on June 4, she claimed that her phone had died and she had gotten lost. Ryan Burns, the man she was visiting, supported her story, mentioning that he had tried to call her several times, but each attempt ended with his calls going straight to voicemail. As Detective Flores continued to investigate the case, he found out that a .25 caliber firearm had gone missing from Arias's grandparents' house about a week before the incident. This specific caliber matched the bullet casings discovered on the bathroom floor of Alexander's home, raising further suspicions. In one intense interrogation session, Flores presented graphic photographs of Arias and Alexander taken just hours before the incident. Despite this evidence, Arias maintained her innocence, firmly denying any involvement. No matter how much evidence I laid out before her, she was steadfast in her refusal to admit that she had even been present, Flores recounted. However, the following day, after spending a night in custody, Arias changed her story. She eventually confessed to the investigators that she had indeed been at Alexander's home on the day of the incident, a revelation that would change the course of the investigation. It was early in the morning when Arias arrived at Alexander's home. Claiming it was around 3 a.m., she recounted a night filled with personal connection, describing how they had spent the night together and got intimate with each other. However, the atmosphere quickly changed when she alleged that while she was taking photographs of Alexander in the shower, their peaceful setting was abruptly interrupted. According to Arias, two masked individuals, one male and one female, suddenly entered the scene with harmful intentions, specifically aimed at Alexander. She claimed that one of them threatened her, instructing her to leave immediately and ominously warning that if she ever spoke about the events that day, her family would face severe consequences. Skeptical of her account, law enforcement officials found it difficult to believe Arias's narrative, leading to a dramatic turn of events. She was charged with first-degree murder in connection to Alexander's death. This marked the beginning of a lengthy legal journey. Arias spent over 4 years in custody while awaiting her trial. A testimony was presented in court from a rental car agency in Redding, California, where Arias rented a car for her road trip to Arizona around the time of the murder. The owner of the budget rental agency testified that the car was returned missing floor mats and had stains in the backseat resembling Kool-Aid, which he cleaned before the police had an opportunity to conduct testing. Arias refuted any involvement in the murder by instructing Detective Flores to examine the car for evidence. In January 2013, the moment of truth finally arrived as her trial for a potential severe sentence commenced. When Arias took the witness stand, she presented another version of her story, one that substantially differed from the earlier accounts she had provided to investigators. She admitted to the fatal incident but insisted it was an act of self-defense. According to her, the conflict began after she accidentally dropped a camera, which was later discovered in the washing machine. Arias claimed that Alexander had a history of abusive behavior towards her, crafting a narrative in which she portrayed herself as a victim fighting for her own safety. As the trial progressed, the jury ultimately reached its verdict in May 2013. Finding Arias guilty of first-degree murder relating to Alexander's death. The case captured the public's fascination, but when it came time for sentencing, the proceedings took another unexpected turn. Two juries were unable to reach a consensus on whether to impose the death penalty, resulting in a judge deciding that Arias would serve life in prison without the possibility of parole. That concludes today's deep dive into the Jodi Arias case. What are your thoughts? Was justice truly served? Share your opinions in the comments below. If you found this video informative, don't forget to share it, and be sure to like and subscribe for more true crime content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.